I am Curran Bhatia. This is the Ask the Experts podcast. I'm speaking to Andrew Cancio. Andrew, you've had a great year so far. You took out Alberto Machado. You took him out twice. You're continuing your boxing career here. You're fighting again November 23rd. The question that's probably on everyone's mind is you also have your other job, right, as a construction technician at Southern California Gas Company. So you're a world champion fighter. You have the belt. So why are you choosing to continue that job at the gas company?
Well, the benefits, it's a steady paycheck. My kids have, medical, vision, dental, all that stuff. Plus, it's a retirement, pension plan, and I don't know how much more time I have in this boxing world. All this stuff can end tomorrow or my next fight. So I got to keep it. It keeps me humble. It keeps me walking on a straight line.
And I think that's great that you're thinking about your family. I've been talking a lot about like safety for fighters, fighter safety, what boxing commissions, organizations could do. And you bring up a good point. As a boxer, there's no health benefits. There's nothing like that. No 401k, nothing like that. So do you think these commissions and organizations should help out? With health benefits, things like that, so that someone like you doesn't have to get another job.
That would be nice. It would be nice to get something like that and help the fighters out. That way, they can retire and live a comfortable life. You see a lot of fighters that don't take care of the money or don't invest in the right way, and they end up fighting when they shouldn't be fighting anymore. So it would be nice if we can have an organization like something like that where it would help out the fighters. That way, we wouldn't have to work, and we could have retirement after we're done fighting. I think California does have a little retirement thing depending on how many rounds you fight and stuff. I'm not too sure on that on how much it is, but I believe California does do something like that. But I don't they don't do the medical and stuff.
Absolutely, and I think it's very admirable of you to be doing both things at the same time. I read a little bit about your schedule. It said up at 4:30 a.m. for a 5 mile run, right, getting your road work in, and then you are changing into your work clothes by 5:50, and you're going to work. You have to be at work by 6:30, right? Is Tell us a little bit about what's a normal day in your life.
Yep, I train every day except for Wednesdays. It was getting very hard for me to train Monday through Saturday and take Sunday off because of between training and work. So I would like to do Monday, Tuesday. I hit it hard, right? Wednesday is my day off from the gym, not from work, but I like to just come home, relax, get a massage on Wednesday. Every Wednesday, I get a massage, and then we train the rest of the week. And I like to get up around 4 o'clock. That way, I'm on the road by 4:15. That way I don't run late. But yeah, sometimes I am hitting the road work at around 4:30, which I just gotta hustle up and get back home and change out. I drive to Simi Valley. I live here in Ventura, so it's a 31-mile commute for me. And I change into my boots and my coveralls, and I go to work from 6:30 to 3 as long as there's no overtime. So, and then after that, drive back to Ventura, train, and I'm usually done. I get to the gym at around 4:30. I'm done with the gym around 7:30, sometimes 8, depending. And my sparring days are Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays.
The work ethic to do that is amazing. The dedication to get out of bed every morning for a 4:30 a.m. run. I mean, that must be tough. What is your motivation? I mean, you mentioned your family earlier. What's your motivation to keep that routine and keep that discipline?
Yeah, my family. I It was rough. I couldn't have when boxing wasn't working out. That's how I ended up going to the gas company. My brother told me, "Hey, you need a plan B." And back in the day, I was like, "There's no plan B. I'm gonna become a world champion. I'm gonna make millions. I'm gonna be able to support my family." Well, no, it didn't happen that way. So I got a full-time job, and my brother's like, "There's no way you can do the gas company and train." Well, I'm doing it. It's hard, but I remember when I couldn't even afford a one-bedroom apartment. My 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 girl's parents would help us out paying the rent, just supporting me, and so I remember those days that it was rough. It was real rough not being able to get my kids the toys for Christmas and stuff, and like it was rough. I didn't want to go back that were in that place. So that's why I continue. A lot of people are like, why do you continue? It's working out. Yes, it's working out now. But I was there when I felt like shit, where I couldn't even afford to pay rent or do anything. It's like, so now that everything's working out, well, I'm skeptical on going just strictly boxing just because I'm not making the millions of dollars.
Right.
uh, so I'm not there. I'm not a Canelo, where he can just do this. So that's what keeps me. That's where it's not hard for me to get up and go run at 4 o'clock, 4:15. It's just one of the things that you have to do to continue living your dream.
And you talked about your ambition early on, like I'm sure a lot of young boxers is you want to become world champion, you want to make millions of dollars, you want to be like the Canelo and all the other people you talked about. You're only 31 years old. I know that you've been in this game since 2006 as a professional, but do you still feel like those goals are still achievable for you? That at a certain point, let's say you're a world champion, let's say you defend the belt against big names and start to get bigger paydays, that you could quit the gas company and just focus full time. Is that still possible?
Oh, that's a possibility where I can take a leave of absence for a little bit. That way, I have a job. It secures my job, I believe, for up to a year and a half. That's a possibility, but like you said, I got to fight the bigger names. Machado was a big name, but like I said, it wasn't I was the challenger. I wasn't the champion. So now I just got to work up to getting the bigger names, and hopefully, yeah, hopefully I get a nice, a couple of nice paydays where I can invest and just live off of that for while I'm training. And then who knows? I mean, I just got to be smart. I just got to keep being dedicated, keep running, keep training hard, keep being disciplined, and keep fighting great fights. And as long as I pull out the victory, I don't see why not.
Absolutely, and congratulations to you for the great year that you have had, beating Alberto Machado twice, who was the champion. And I want to talk to you about those two fights. Last question about kind of the double duty and the work you're doing. And obviously, what you're doing is for your family, and I cannot tell you how much I respect that. Is there any part of you in the back of your mind that says, hey, if I was able to kind of just focus on boxing, right, I may be able to achieve even more in boxing? Is that in your thought process at all?
No, I feel like as long as I'm focused here, I can achieve it with or without the job. Will it be a little bit easier as far as with the wear and tear on the body? Yes, absolutely. But I think as long as I stay focused, I can achieve a lot more. Like I have a goal in mind. I have things that I know I can do, and I just need to go out there and prove it to the world.
100%. And I think just talking to you now, and I think anyone who hears your story and your dedication will be behind you 100%. I know that I'm definitely going to be watching your fight coming up on November 23rd. We'll talk about that in a sec, but let's talk about the great 2019 that you've had. So you took on Alberto Machado, who was the champion. In the first fight, you actually got knocked down in the first round. So now he landed a three-punch combination. You went down. What was going through your head? You're fighting for the world title. It's a big stage. What was going through your head in that first round when you got knocked down?
Oh man, the first thing I said to myself, I said, "Oh shit, we're not supposed to be here." And I've gotten dropped before by Rocky Juarez. He caught me good. I went down, flash knockdown, and just turned, looked to my corner, made acknowledged them, and told them I'm okay. And I just told myself, all right, you're down on the scorecard, so it's time to go to work and be smart. Have your hands up, and he's gonna come after you. Sure enough, that's what I did, and we got out of the round, and I started exchanging with them by the time towards the end of the round. So I was real nervous. I let the nerves get the best of me. Usually the nerves go away after the first bell rings. So yeah, that combination was beautiful. He threw a right hook, a jab, like he pulled it off with the jab, right hook, and then but yeah, the left uppercut, right? Yeah, left uppercut right on the button. It was a beautiful combination that he threw, perfectly placed, and he put me down.
He put you down, and like you said, it was a three punch combination. When you were down for a sec, did the thought process come into your mind? all the hard work that you've been doing, right? All the sacrifices for your family and everything that you've been working towards. Was that in your thought process? And you said to yourself, hey, I cannot stay down right now.
Uh, no, I mean, it was just like I said, it was one of those things. Like I told myself exactly what he's gonna do. Like there's no way the fight's gonna end here. There's no way. Like I just had that much confidence in myself that I go, you know what, it's just a hiccup, and we got to get to work. But no, all that stuff was already in my head whenever I was training for the fight, when I was running before work, when I was in the gym hitting it hard. Even now, like all that stuff already plays into your head. So whenever, usually in the deep later rounds, yes, sometimes you need that motivation to pick you up. But in that time, I was just more worried about, all right, I got to be smart. I can't get caught. I can't get dropped again. I can't let him finish his fight.
And then we go to the fourth round, and you were able to knock him down 3 times. A lot of body work, obviously, was important there, and eventually stop the fight. So, what did you find in that fourth round that was able to give you that much success and lead to all the knockdowns?
Well, it was a build up to it. I was throwing a lot of combinations. I was landing the uppercuts pretty well. I was landing the check hook over his jab, and that was making it somewhat easy for me to be inside already, because when he threw his jab, I just threw the check hook over it, and I was already inside. And then I was throwing a lot of headshots in the third round. I went back to my corner, and that's when my coaches told me, "All right, you're hitting them up top. You're hitting them with everything." I goes, "Now let's go to the body this round." And I listened to them, and sure enough, I was like, "Oh wow, bam!" And then, of course, once you got someone hurt from the body, and then in my head, I was like, "All right, I can finish this fight right here, right now. Go back to the body, just go and attack." And sure enough, he went down again off of another body shot, and then he got up, which I was surprised, because those other ones, I was like, all right, I was really digging in. The straight right, I landed right on the button. I think he wasn't expecting it, and I didn't throw it as hard as I could. Like I kind of like was like testing it out. And
Yeah.
the other body shots, I was like digging, like I can finish this fight. And he after the third one, the referee called it.
Absolutely, and credit to you. I think it was the third round where you found the left hook and stunned him, and then you finished it in the fourth round. So tell me about that feeling. He's finally down. The ref calls it, and everything that you've been through. All the sacrifices in terms of your time and getting up so early every morning. Were you thinking about that at that moment when you finally won the fight?
At that moment, I was just like, I couldn't believe it. Like I was like, holy crap! Like, is it really? I just became a world champion. There is no need to go to the scorecards. Like as soon as you weighed it off, I was just like, wow. And then yeah, like you think about all that, like all the hard work, brought me to tears and stuff. It's been a long road to even get here. A lot of fighters dream about this and never accomplish it, and here I am. Small town boy from a small town with just a big dream, and I was able to accomplish it that night. So yeah, it was all that was just the people I had behind me helping me out, help me with my career, rejuvenating it, and here we are. And it was just a beautiful night, beautiful moment for me, and it's one of those things that I always cherish forever. It's a Cinderella story where you get the chance to fight for world title. On top of that, I got to fight in my hometown, and on top of that, I win it by a knockout in front of my friends, my family, and a bunch of people out there supporting me. So it's like Johnny Tapia when he won his first world title in his sold out arena, and it's the same thing. It's like when I used to watch that fight, like man, it'd be so cool to be able to do that, and here I was able to do that, and it's one of those things you'll always cherish forever. It's my very sold out arena like that, and it was loud. It was super crazy.
And congratulations again to you for being able to have that Cinderella story. It sounds like they need to start writing the. Someone has to grab the movie rights immediately for that. So that's amazing. So that was in February of this year. Now, in the interim after that, Machado was making some excuses, right? And he was saying he was kind of discrediting you in a way. And I've heard you talk about that. So what kind of happened? You rematched him in June, but between then, what was he saying and why did it bother you?
It bothered me because he was trying to take the credit away from me. He couldn't just be a man enough to be like, you know what, that night was his night. I'm gonna try to get my belt back, and I'm gonna do the rematch clause. But no, it was this. It was the weight cut. It was his one of his kids was sick. He wasn't at Freddie Roach's wild card. He only did 2 weeks instead of, I think, 3 weeks. I don't know. There was every excuse for him, and I was like, and it kind of, it really did upset me. It's like, no, I could understand if we went to the later rounds where, okay, you're feeling fatigued, but no, you dropped me the first round. Then after that, I just started picking you apart, and it was in 4 rounds. It's not like we were exchanging blows. Like, I was like started to dominate him, so I was like, okay. It kind of like it lit the fire under me. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go after him. I wanted to knock him out in the head this time. Like, I wanted to just to KO him. I didn't want to do it with the body shot, but it was there. It was opened again, and I took it. He knew. I told him, I go, you know what, I'm gonna, like, when we were doing the face off, the interview, and I was like, you know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go in, just make sure you make weight. I go, you know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna throw combinations, I'm gonna fight the same way. There's no secret about it. I go, just make sure you're ready this time. There's no excuses. And I went in there, and I'm kind of happy he did it. I'm kind of
Right.
happy he did the rematch because, like I said, a lot of people doubted me. I quieted the critics that were like, it's a fluke. So I'm kind of happy he did that for me. And now he's got to fight it. He's got to climb his way back up to the top.
Certainly. And let me ask you this: in that interim period, the first fight in February of this year, the second fight in June, you were now the top dog, right? You were now the champion. Was that any different for you? Because it's no longer that Cinderella underdog story. Now there's a target on your back. So was that different in terms of coming into that fight?
Yes and no. They said it's a lot harder to keep your belt, but like I said, I'm not one of those fighters that I got brought up the rough way. So, and then not only that, I still felt like a lot of people didn't respect me as the champion. They thought it was a fluke. So I felt like I was still fighting the first fight. Like no, I need to show them. So yes, and some people gave me a little bit more respect the second time around with the media and the interviews and all that. But there's still a lot of people like, no, Machado just, he's gonna get it back. So now, like, whenever I trained for that fight, like I said, I still felt like people didn't consider me as the world champ. Like, oh, Machado's gonna get it back.
Certainly, and we talked about you mentioned that fight. It was a third round knockout this time, so you did it even a round sooner. You knocked him out. This time to the body, you took him out. So what was more rewarding? Was it winning it the first time in February, or was it being able to prove that it wasn't a fluke the second time?
I mean, I would just say it was more rewarding the first time, just because it was
Yeah.
my first world title, and the second one was definitely rewarding. It felt great to be announced as the world champion when they were announcing me before the fight. And then when they, that was cool. I've always wanted to experience, like I said, all these dreams that are just that it's actually a reality now. But it's just for now, for me, that first fight will always be right now at number one, just because of all the emotions, that all the hard work to get there. It's like I already knew what was gonna happen the second fight. It's like there's no way he's beat me. He's not taking this from me. And even if we go into later rounds, like I'll find it some way somehow to pull it off. So I said the first fight, it's gonna be hard to beat, very hard to beat for me.
And do you feel for your career, you've had four losses. We said you debuted in 2006, but more recently now, you're 4-0 in your last four fights. You are the world champion, as we mentioned. Do you feel a little bit of a career resurgence coming up here?
Yes. I'm at a good place mentally and physically, and I got good people behind me. A great manager that's helping me out, great coaches that are keeping me in line, keeping me feeling good. I feel rejuvenated. I feel like right now is my time. I feel like I'm peaking. I'm barely peaking right now. Like I feel like I have so much more great fights to give the fight fans, and hopefully I can. 31 is not so old no more in the boxing world as long as I take care of myself.
No, we've seen fighters, Manny Pacquiao beating Keith Thurman at 40 years old. Obviously Mayweather fighting into his 40s. So you have, if you look at those guys, obviously those are Hall of Famer top fighters, but people are going longer and longer. in boxing. So your next fight, Rene Alvarado. Now you fought him in 2015. You knocked him out in the 8th round. You're defending your title on November 23rd. Against Rene Alvarado. So, what is your mindset coming into this fight? You're obviously a different fighter, and it seems like a different person than you were in 2015, right?
Exactly. I feel a lot smarter. Feel like my head movement's better. My defense is way better. I'm throwing my jab combinations. I feel like I'm gonna be. The first fight was very difficult for me, but I was just a come forward guy exchanging with him. He's a very tough fighter. He's very game, and I don't expect anything less from him. But I just think that I'm smarter, and I'm gonna be able to pick and choose on when I want to engage.
And not to overlook Alvarado, but there's other names in the division. There's other title holders: Miguel Burchell, Tevin Farmer, Jamel Herring. There's also Tank Davis, who I know that you wanted to fight. Leo Santa Cruz is fighting on the same card, I believe, at the same night. So, what would be your dream fight at this point? Not to overlook your upcoming opponent, but who do you want?
Not to overlook Rene Alvarado, but I would really like Leo Santa Cruz if he were to win the belt that I should have.
Right.
But I would love to fight him for it. But my dream fight, I think, would be Burchell. I think it would be a very all action packed war between him and I. It'd be a great fight for the fans. It'd be a scary one. Don't get me wrong, but it's those fights that you dream about. I think him and I can make for a very very great fight for the. It'd be a crazy fight if that were to happen. But yeah, that's my dream fight for me.
And I really would love to see that fight. I think that would be an all action fight. So you talked about Leo Santa Cruz having the belt that you deserve. So you right now have the WBA Super Featherweight Championship, right? And so Leo Santa Cruz's fight is for what? It's for the Super
Yeah,
Champion, right? And
yeah.
so how do you feel about that? The fact that he's fighting for that?
I think it's dumb. Um, you know, Machado had that belt, and then they swapped him with Tank. And Tank, he had that belt. He vacated it. I don't understand why we couldn't just fight Leo Santa Cruz for it if they really wanted to make him a four-time division world champion. But I just think the reason why is because they know they're not gonna. They probably have a lot of doubt fighting me that I'm too strong for him. But I think it's kind of dumb that he's fighting a number 3 ranked guy for it and then went to make it when you got a 130-pound champion, WBA champion right here that's willing to fight him. And yeah, I told Golden Boy, I go, make the fight happen. I want that fight. I think I don't know what happened with Gilberto Mendoza on that, but I think it's very, very unfair for me. I'm getting the short end of the stick, but we'll see. Like I said, I just got to do my job November 23rd against Rene Alvarado, and then I'm gonna let it be known that I want my belt.
100%. And if you did get that opportunity against Leo Santa Cruz, let's say it could be a WBA unification almost in a way for the regular and the super, which has happened before. I believe that was the situation with Pacquiao Thurman. How do you think you would match up with Leo Santa Cruz?
Oh, it'd be great. He's a combination. He comes forward, hands up. He's been in wars, but I just feel me at 130 pounds. Um, I think I can definitely muscle him around and pick my spots and make him go backwards for once. He's always making people go backwards, but I think I can really put it on him and throw. I think I can match him with shot for shot, but mine are gonna hurt. So I think that stylistically, it's a great fight. It's another great fight, but I just think that I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna show him what 130 pounds feels like.
And if you had the opportunity to take on Tevin Farmer, he's another guy who has a few losses on the record, but he's having that career resurgence, and on top just like you are now. So how would you see that fight playing out if that fight came together?
He's gonna run. He's gonna try to outbox me, but as long as I throw combinations to the body, slow him down, the later rounds will be in my favor. It's gonna be me having to go in there and stay low, move my head, throw my jab, and not get frustrated. He likes to throw and exchange with his opponents sometimes, so we have to be smart, make sure we don't get caught. But I think him and I will definitely make for a good fight as well. he's not gonna sit there and bang with me, but it'll be all right. You know, I'll chase him down, and I think the later rounds will be in my favor, and hopefully I can get him out of there. That way, it doesn't have to go to a decision.
And you brought up Tank Davis vacating the belt. Would you have any message for Tank Davis? Is that someone you want to lock horns with as well?
Yeah, I have told people I even whenever I beat Machado the first time, I think he's a strong fighter. He's southpaw, but I'm not shy. I want to fight the best. I've proven that when I fought Machado, I wasn't. I took him on. I would like to take on Tank Davis. I know he's got uh, a different agenda moving up to 135, but who knows? Like I said, I don't know how long I'll be at 130. The future. I can be at 135, maybe 140. I don't know. We just have to wait and see. But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't mind fighting these guys. I want to be considered as one of the best out there, so I have to fight the best.
100%. So just to close it out, we talked about everything you've been through, your work ethic, your routine that you're following, waking up so early in the morning for your family, and then obviously being a world champion fighter at the same time. So, would you have any message to people maybe watching this, sitting on the couch? It's sometimes it's hard for us regular people who are not fighters to stick to our routines, right? It's hard to do that. So, would you have any message or motivation to send to people?
Yeah, never give up. I run into people that say that I inspire them, and I'm happy that I do. But other people have inspired me as well, and it's one thing that they said: never give up. Even whenever times are rough, where you think it's the end of the road, you never know. Just keep pushing forward, and and sometimes it works out. For me, it worked out. But yeah, a lot of people just say just keep going forward and keep giving it your all. Don't give up. Don't give up on your dreams or whatever you're trying to accomplish in life.
100%. And like you said, you are a testament to that. World champion later in your career and now having that resurgence. So I want to congratulate you one more time. The fight is on November 23rd. It's against Rene Alvarado. It's going to be on the Zone, so don't make sure you don't miss that. Andrew, I want to thank you so much for the time, for sharing your story, and wish you best of luck in your upcoming fight.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Much appreciated.